Welcome in. This is Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano, and thank you so much for joining me as the Kansas City Chiefs are 5-5. The Chiefs lose to the Denver Broncos 22-19 on a last-second Will Lutz field goal that was absolutely devastating. I have been a Chiefs fan for my entire life, since I was born. I went to Brookwood Elementary. I grew up in Kansas City. I was indoctrinated as a Chiefs fan from birth. And this is the hardest loss I've ever had to take as a fan. Because they're good. This is a better team than 5-5. This is a good football team. They have a lot of great, talented players. And for some reason, in some of these games, these close games, they just don't have it. And we could talk about the referees, and we will a little bit later. A lot of penalties against the Chiefs, but, I was on the live. The penalties were fair for the most part. Some no calls I didn't love, but this is a situation where every game where it's close, it feels like the Chiefs can't get it done. They have 5 wins by multiple scores. They have 5 losses by 1 score. That's a very strange thing in this world. You don't see that in the NFL. Ever. You never see teams just blow people out and then lose close games. And there's no in between. They have no 1-score wins. They have no 2-score losses. It's just 5 multiple-score wins and 5 1-score losses. This also ends what was the most beautiful 9 seasons in Chiefs history. The AFC West championship run of 9 straight was one of the greatest things that we could have ever possibly hoped for in Kansas City. Growing up, watching John Elway win it, then watching Peyton Manning win it, hating the Broncos with every fiber of my being the entire time. Because I did. I hated the Broncos with every single part of me. Forever. Why? Because John Elway, Terrell Davis, Bill Romanowski, God, I hate them all. So to have it happen in Denver, it's not mathematically impossible for the Chiefs to win the AFC West. I want to be clear about that. But it would be a miracle. It would be the Chiefs win out, go 12-5, and then the Broncos collapse. Is it impossible? No. But is it realistic in any world to believe that the AFC West is still up for grabs? No. Not for the Chiefs. Chargers lost. They're further behind the Broncos, but they do have a shot. They have 7 wins, 4 losses. Chiefs have 5 wins and 5 losses. In watching this game, you got the feeling that the Chiefs just weren't playing that inspired football outside of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know what it is with this team. I don't know why we aren't seeing inspired football, why we're seeing blown assignments. I mean, man, Kareem Hunt had such a good game pass blocking, but then in the biggest moment, he blows it. And McMillan comes free and gets to Patrick Mahomes. So it's like you have these players who are doing a really good job, like Kareem Hunt. But then at the end, there's just something wrong. It's a lack of discipline. It's a lack of focus. I don't want to say a lack of heart because I think that's internal, and I don't think I've seen a lack of heart. I've seen a lack of inspired football and guys who look like they aren't entirely sure where they're supposed to be. And that's been really hard to watch this year, and it's happened a lot. This is not the first time I've watched a game, and I'm like, do you want to be there? I think some guys do. Some guys, I'm like, they want to go home. They look like they would rather be at home. And that frustrates me. Travis came out with his hair on fire today. Played like he was 22. Big time touchdown. Never ever doubt the greatness. Never ever doubt the greatness of Travis Kelce. 36 years old. On a team playing, at this moment, incredibly uninspired football. Yeah, what I saw from Travis Kelce in Denver, Colorado was a man that doesn't care how old he is. A man that isn't focused on his stats. He isn't focused on his numbers. He isn't focused on anything else other than trying to win the game. And Travis sacrificed everything he could to win that game. And it's devastating to watch somebody pull at the depth of his intensity and the heart that he has to win every single week, especially in Denver against the Broncos, and have the rest of the team not do enough. Because Travis Kelce did more than enough. 9 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. By far the leading receiver for Kansas City. And this is a wide receiver core that was supposed to be very stacked with talent. Where is it? And it's a fair question. Where's the talent on the wide receiver core? Rashee Rice had a chance to make a magnificent catch on one of the best throws Patrick Mahomes has made the entire season. And he couldn't pull it in. And it sucked. It was hard to watch that, man. Big drop by him. Big drops across the board. Kelce had one, but it was a tough catch. And the fact is, you make up for it with the touchdown that he had on 3rd down, where he had to catch the ball short of the sticks, break a tackle, and then he decided to take it to the crib anyway. That's what makes Travis Kelce such an incredibly important player for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I won't listen to one person say one negative thing about Travis Kelce ever again. And there are a lot of people, including Chiefs fans, that like to say negative things about Travis Kelce. They'd like to crack on Travis Kelce or call him washed or say that he's overrated and talk all this terrible stuff about him. But the fact of the matter is, if you have something negative to say about Travis Kelce, you're either a hater or you don't know ball. That's the fact. If you think you have some grand idea of why the world would be better for the Chiefs without Travis Kelce, then I think you're talking out of your ass, frankly. Because I hear a lot of negativity surrounding Travis Kelce. From Chiefs fans, from everybody. Tons of negativity surrounds Travis Kelce. Yet I see him out there actually putting in the work and busting his tail to be great every single week. Do you see that from everybody else? Because I don't. I see a guy that everybody calls washed. They say this guy's too old. He can't do it like he used to do it. But he's out there doing it like he used to do it. He's feeling like he's 22. And he's putting up numbers and being consistent on a week-in, week-out basis and being the leading receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs by over 200 yards on the season. That's the guy who's pulling his weight. There's a lot of guys on the Chiefs right now, and I bet they would admit this, they're not pulling their weight. Travis Kelce is. So I don't want to hear another word from anybody about Travis Kelce not being good enough, not pulling his weight, being washed. Any of that trash that we always hear about Travis Kelce, knock that the hell off. Because that's not life. Real life was what we just saw out there in Denver, Colorado, where he's the only guy consistently getting open.
3rd and 6. There's the pass. Caught, breaking the tackles, Kelce, and Travis takes it to the end zone. What an effort by Travis Kelce.
How many times during this game did we see Patrick Mahomes roll out, buy time, look downfield, and nobody's open? And yeah, he made a big mistake today. He tried to force one in the red zone on 3rd and 14, and it got picked. Stinks. But that's kind of what happens sometimes. You're a gunslinger, you try to fit it in, you try to make a throw that isn't there. Gets picked. You take the good with the bad with your generational talent. And it seems like there's a weird group of people that want Patrick Mahomes to be bad too. It's like, what's wrong with you? The weirdest thing in the world is Patrick Mahomes hater. That's the weirdest thing in the world. So watching that game, I think the biggest mistakes were mostly offensive line and defensive line. But the reality is you didn't do anything at the trade deadline. By the way, Kareem Hunt's really good at being Kareem Hunt. But he can't be Saquon Barkley. He can't be Breece Hall. Kareem Hunt is a really good short yardage back. and they decided that's all they were going to go with. I mean, Elijah Mitchell gets in for one play. Flag, illegal shift. We've been talking about where's Elijah Mitchell all year. Well, we just found out why. He can't line up correctly. So that's why he's not playing. Isaiah Pacheco, injured again. Unfortunately, a lot of NFL careers go that way, where you're pretty good for a couple years, injuries start, and then it just doesn't work out again from there. It's really unfortunate because I like Isaiah Pacheco a lot. But during this offseason, the second the Super Bowl ended, all we talked about was a need for a running back in this draft. Two things. Left tackle, which I was like, the only thing you should be looking at in the first round for the Kansas City Chiefs is left tackle. And there's receipts for all of this that I've said. By the way, I also said the Denver Broncos were going to be the biggest threat to the Chiefs this year. Receipts for that too. But we were talking about a running back being needed for the Kansas City Chiefs going all the way to last February. I did a whole breakdown of a bunch of running backs, including R.J. Harvey, who did very well for the Denver Broncos today in the fourth quarter, of running backs coming out of the draft that the Chiefs should go for. We didn't have Brashard Smith on the list because we didn't think the Chiefs would wait till the 7th round to get a running back, considering what a dire need it was on this team. They gave Brashard some opportunities today. We were hoping for that. See what you got? Not much. He looks uncomfortable out there. We were hoping Brashard Smith would be a very good player for this team, and I assumed that because of Brett Veach waiting so long, he waited so long to get Brashard Smith in the 7th round, and then he stood pat at the trade deadline, an opportunity to get Breece Hall for a 3rd rounder. Well, you want to hold on to that? Why? So you can go draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire again? The Chiefs aren't good at running back. Brett Veach is bad at running back. He's gotten one right, and that was Isaiah Pacheco for 2 years. He didn't have Kareem Hunt. He went and got him off the street. Kareem Hunt was sitting on his couch in September of last year. The only reason he even got a shot is because Pacheco got hurt. So I don't give him a lot of credit for that either, that you brought in the only guy who knew the offense that happened to be sitting on his couch. And you got incredibly lucky. The Chiefs got incredibly lucky with Kareem Hunt. They weren't going to sign Kareem Hunt. They didn't have him on the team. The only reason Kareem Hunt even got an opportunity is because Isaiah Pacheco broke his leg. And he happened to be sitting on the couch in September of 2024. And the Chiefs went and got him. And it's been incredibly lucky for the Chiefs because, 5-5 stinks. Could you imagine what this team would be without Kareem Hunt? And I would love to sit here and say, well, no, the Chiefs would have gotten another running back if it weren't for Kareem Hunt. Are you sure? Because we were talking about the Chiefs needing another running back from February of last year to the trade deadline of this year. Hasn't happened. So I think more than anything, we're just fortunate for the fact that Kareem Hunt exists on the Chiefs roster so that they can have a short yardage back do well. But the fact is, Kareem Hunt is great at being Kareem Hunt. You can't want him to go out there and be Saquon Barkley or Breece Hall or Bijan Robinson or Jonathan Taylor or any of the other 25 running back groups in the NFL that are better than the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a blunder. And Veach usually has about one blunder every year. It's been wide receivers. It's been offensive tackle on a couple of occasions. I don't blame him for the loss to Tampa Bay. That was injury. The Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, that was injury-ridden. You got a healthy Eric Fisher, a healthy Mitchell Schwartz. That game goes very differently. But last year's Super Bowl, you needed a left tackle. Moving Joe Thuney to the left, not ideal. And it came to fruition against the Philadelphia Eagles. They took care of left tackle. They got Josh Simmons. He had a fairly good game against Nick Bonito. Bonito can take a game over. He didn't do that today against the Chiefs. So you have to give credit there. But I wanted to see the Chiefs do more than they did today. I think everyone did. 19 points, 6 points in the first half coming off of your bye week. That's not something anyone can even defend for the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't defend it. 6 points, whole half, coming off of a bye. I didn't think the Chiefs would get off to a fast start offensively. I wasn't delusional, but I did think they would at least be able to do something other than completely fall apart in the first half. I thought the play calling or trying to take the top off the defense would work more than once to Tyquan Thornton. You hit the guy for 61 yards. We never saw you go back to it again. You're going to tell me there was no possible way to get Tyquan Thornton deep again? I don't care what you think your other wide receivers are. I don't, because clearly they're not getting the job done. You have one guy who has proven himself this year to be a deep threat in the NFL, and it's Tyquan Thornton. So I don't want to care. I don't want to hear about anybody else on that wide receiver core being, he's playing because he's playing over Tyquan because of this, that, or the other thing. It doesn't matter. I don't even care what you're seeing in practice, because we've seen over half a season on Sundays, and the Chiefs have one consistent, dynamic, deep ball threat, Tyquan Thornton, and they don't go to him enough. And that's been a big problem within the 5 losses that the Chiefs have had, is that they haven't gone deep to Tyquan Thornton. They've put other guys out there instead of him because they believe in them more. Well, I believe in my eyes, and my eyes tell me that Tyquan Thornton's the best deep threat you have, and you're not using him. So that's going to be frustrating for everybody, because we all have eyes. We can all see what's happening. I don't care what you're paying other guys. I don't care what you've promised other guys. You have one man, who has proven that no matter how far away from Mahomes he is, he can make the catch. Rice hasn't done it. Worthy hasn't done it. The guys you expected to be top flight, they're getting outplayed by Tyquan Thornton. And guess what? That's okay, but you got to get the ball to Tyquan Thornton. The one guy making plays. You put up 19 points, 6 in the first half. This offense has been a consistent problem. And this offensive game plan of trying to work the perimeter, it's not going to work against good defenses. We saw it all day against the Broncos. Chiefs throw out this way, throw out that way. And what happened? 3 Broncos are there swarming within 3 yards. You can't win football games playing that way. And that's a game plan problem, guys. That's not any of the players. That's not anything other than the Chiefs' offensive game plan. Trying to play in the perimeter, which wasn't going to work. The Broncos' defense is too fast. They're too physical. They swarm the ball too well. And I could see it in the first quarter. I'm on live on TikTok sitting there going, why are they trying to work the flat so much? It's not going to work against the Broncos. And it didn't. Over and over and over again, it didn't. So the Chiefs kept trying these fruitless ideas, and then they keep going back to it, almost like they have this identity of offense they're married to. Here's the thing. Get divorced. If you're married to this identity as an offense, as the Kansas City Chiefs, you're married to this quick, short passes to the outside while the defense swarms around you and you can't get more than 4 yards, this replacement running game, throwing game, if you're married to it, I understand, get a divorce. Right now. And start uncorking the ball deep, because the fact is the only real offense the Chiefs had today was Tyquan Thornton over the top. And that's fine, but you got to go to it. You can't only have one bomb to Tyquan. They took only 2 shots, 3 total, but 2 to Tyquan. And the fact is, if he's going to be your best deep ball catcher, and he is, he's your best deep ball catcher, you got to go to him. Because this short passing, dink and dunk offense that Andy Reid's in love with and that he's been married to for years, get a divorce. Because it's not working. We have irreconcilable. What's this? What is it? What's the irreconcilable differences is what we have with that offense. File for the divorce, Andy. You need to go out there and start slinging the ball. Because at this point, what do you have to lose? The playoffs start now. That's it for the Chiefs. If you're 5-5, every game's a must-win. You can afford to lose 1 more, maybe 2. And it's mid-November. So that means you have to make a drastic change. And go out there and start firing and having a good time and screw it, man. You've lost the AFC West. I know. People say, well, it's not over yet, technically. Yeah, I mean, if a comet hits Denver... that's a little dark. I apologize for that, but it's the truth. Well, you want them to lose? Okay, so that in this pie in the sky world where the Chiefs win the division, that means Denver wins 2 more games. They're 9-2. The Chiefs are 5-5. The Chiefs would have to win 12 games, and Denver has tiebreaker, so they can't win 12. So Denver has to win 2 of their next 7. And the Chiefs have to win out I mean, I'm just saying, the ball realistic, it's just not there, man. It's not realistic. Is it possible? Yeah, okay. It's possible. What's Sidney Sweeney up to? Should I shoot a DM? It's possible, right? Same stuff. So the playoffs start now, and the Chiefs are a wild card. That's it. They have to get in as a wild card. And it's going to be a very tough road for them to try to get in as a wild card, but that's all they can do.
Snap. And Mahomes going to launch it long, one-on-one coverage, and Thornton makes the catch. Gets to his feet, McMillan, then...
I will say this. Let's look at the bright side of the crystal ball for a second. Just for a second. Then we have to get to Travis Kelce. And we got to a lot of this stuff already, actually. I was just talking without any structure. I didn't look over at my notes at all or what I was going to do here. A lot of it just came out. We'll get to the referees here in a second, just because there are some calls to talk about that are controversial. Some that should have happened, some that didn't happen. We'll get to that in a second. But let's look at the positive side of the crystal ball here for just a moment. If the Chiefs go to the playoffs as a wild card, and if they go into this game, let me rephrase this. If the Chiefs get into the playoffs as a wild card, or the 7 seed, let's just say 7 seed. If the Chiefs get into the playoffs as a 7 seed, and they end up making it all the way to the Super Bowl and winning, imagine what that's going to do for Patrick Mahomes' legacy as the greatest quarterback of all time. To take a team that couldn't help him out on their best day, a team that has no running back other than a short yardage Kareem Hunt, a team that stood pat at a trade deadline with obvious glaring holes that literally everybody could see. If Patrick Mahomes takes the Chiefs as a 7 seed and wins the Super Bowl, imagine what that's going to do for his legacy and how beautiful that's going to be for the Kansas City Chiefs. And don't tell me there isn't a path, because if the Chiefs see the Colts in the playoffs, Indianapolis isn't going to like that. If the Chiefs go to the second round and play New England, Drake May's first playoff game ever against a head coach and a quarterback who have both won 3 Super Bowls, New England doesn't want that. I can promise you that. So don't get too discouraged after a loss against Denver, because the season is not over. The AFC West is, by all realistic measures. But the season and the chances for the Chiefs to pull off a miraculous run, that still exists. And I can't wait to see Patrick Mahomes pull a rabbit out of the hat, get the 7 seed, and go on the most iconic run in the history of the NFL. Wouldn't it be great, too? Because the NFL just expanded the playoffs. No 7 seed has ever gone and won the Super Bowl. So wouldn't it be great for Mahomes' legacy, for the Chiefs' legacy, and for all the haters who are right now having the best night of their lives because the Chiefs finally lost a big game in the division? Imagine their tears when Lombardi Trophy is being hoisted up by Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the guy they seemingly hate the most, the Big Yeti, TK number 87, Travis Kelce. 9 receptions for 91 yards and a touchdown, by the way. So to look at the positive crystal ball, playoffs are still on the table. I'm still taking the Chiefs to go to the playoffs, obviously. This is a better team than 5-5. That's why it hurts. I mean, a lot of people are like, why? People keep saying, why does this one hurt, man? We've had much worse years in Kansas City. Remember, before the dynasty, before Andy Reid, 2-14, Romeo Crennel. You can go back through all these terrible years. Brody Croyle, Tyler Palco. We can go through all the awful seasons of Kansas City. Why is this the one that hurts the most? Because it doesn't hurt when you're bad. If I thought the Chiefs were a bad football team and they had no business being in a game against Denver that could have helped decide the AFC West, then this wouldn't hurt at all. Losing when you feel like you're supposed to lose doesn't cause any pain. A team that you can look on the field and see how talented they are, see how good they are, how much they bring to the table, and for some reason they can't quite click in and win a close game. That's when it's painful. It's not painful when you get your tail kicked every single week. It's painful when you know better because you see how good the team can be and that they're just not living up to their potential. That hurts. And that's what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs this year. They're a team that's not living up to their full potential, and I don't know why. We can look at play calling. We can look at running back. We can look at pass rush. We can look at all these other things. The Chiefs, even with those problems that they clearly do have, they're not a 5-5 football team. There are teams with much more glaring holes that are doing better than the Kansas City Chiefs this year. And so I don't know why, when the game's close, the Chiefs somehow can't figure out how to get the ball to bounce the right way for them. They did it 11 times last year. They've done it 0 times this year. And it's infuriatingly hard because I can't figure it out. If I can figure something out, it doesn't hurt that much. You know, going into... call it 2012, right? 2012, 2-14 season for the Chiefs. We went into the year like Jamal Charles is our only player. Dwayne Bowe was still on the team, right? Yeah. But he was having a down year. He just didn't have it that season. Defense was terrible. We knew that. But remember that team in 2012 had 6 Pro Bowlers. There were some solid pieces on that team, but we knew watching that game, like, what's the problem? They have no leadership. The game plans are terrible. They have some nice pieces, but not enough at the key places, like quarterback, right? Then, Andy Reid comes in. They get the culture right. They go get Alex Smith, and everything changes. But that's the thing. Get the coach, get the quarterback. Well, you have the coach. You have the quarterback. You have the big-time tight end. You have a wide receiver in Rashee Rice who should be upper echelon, but he's struggling to reel the ball in. And they showed him a lot on the sideline tonight. He didn't look like he was having fun, did he? He looked like he knew how bad it was and how much he was a part of the problem. You have Xavier Worthy, super fast, wide open. Mahomes just misses him. And Mahomes had a couple of misses that if you could get those back, the Chiefs win the game. But that's the thing. I can do that with 5 losses this year. I can do one play, change it, Chiefs win. The Chiefs are 10-0 if I can change 5 plays this year. That's how hard this is to stomach. Because I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, they could be this, they could be that. That's fine. But they are better than a 5-5 team. I could change 5 plays this year, and the Chiefs are 10-0. That's crazy. 5 wins by multiple scores. 5 losses, all by 1 score. That blows my mind. And it blows the mind of anybody who watches football on a consistent basis. Because the odds of that happening are astronomically low. But the Chiefs are having it happen right now. And that's hard to stomach. That you have something with such astronomically low odds of happening, and the Chiefs are literally living that reality right in front of our eyes. So that's why it hurts so much. If they were bad, if this was a bad football team, this wouldn't hurt. It would suck, but it wouldn't hurt. Because bad football teams losing, that's what they do. This isn't a bad football team. It's a good football team. That for whatever reason, when the game is on the line, when it's 19-19, and you have a chance to drive down for a game-winning field goal or a touchdown, or when you have a 3-point lead and you can't hang on, that's what hurts. Losing because you're bad doesn't hurt. It just sucks. There's a totally different world there. Let's get to the referees. The broken tackle whistle, I mean, that's just the stupidest thing in the world for people to be upset about. That's stupid. For people to be upset about the broken tackle whistle is just so pathetic and so on brand for CBS to show it over and over and over again. Like the NFL doesn't blow the whistle to avoid a penalty. It's a whistle-aided broken tackle. The reason Trent McDuffie didn't take McLaughlin down is because Trent McDuffie didn't want a 15-yard penalty. We see it every week in the NFL. Defenders finish a play after the whistle, and then flag comes out 15 yards. So Trent McDuffie, an all-pro cornerback, making an all-pro play, letting go of McLaughlin after the whistle blows, and then CBS and all these clowns on the internet are going to try to make it seem as if the referees are helping the Chiefs, when in reality, the referees are trying to save McLaughlin from getting German suplexed on his head. And at this point, I mean, it's actually very smart. It was very smart of Trent McDuffie to do that because he would have gotten a 15-yard penalty like everyone else who does it. So you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't when you're the Kansas City Chiefs, because either you do the thing and you get flagged and people are like, oh, they're a dirty team, or you don't do the thing, you play by the rules, you get rewarded, and people go, oh, they're on the same side of the refs. So you really can't win amongst fans when they're the Kansas City Chiefs. So the only option is to watch and enjoy every game the Chiefs play with both middle fingers extended from your body, and don't care about any of them, because all they're going to do is complain about BS that isn't real while Zach Allen is taking cheap shots at Patrick Mahomes and there's no flag. We counted 3 clear roughing the passer penalties that weren't called. That gives the Chiefs the win, by the way. You give it 3 more personal fouls against the Denver Broncos? Yeah, the Broncos lose. But none of them were called. And the Zach Allen one's the most upsetting because he did the same damn thing 10 days ago to Geno Smith. No flag. So I don't know if Zach Allen is Roger Goodell's nephew or something, but the fact is this guy gets away with everything. He is the dirtiest player in the NFL. He's the most disgusting hitter in the NFL, and somebody, I can't believe that the NFL hasn't done anything to reprimand him. He's like, it's Bill Romanowski. Good for the Broncos. You got another Bill Romanowski, another dirty player that you're all going to sit there and pretend isn't dirty. Because that's what Broncos fans do. You pretend players aren't dirty when you know damn well what's going on. You did it with Romanowski for 10 years. Now you're doing it with Zach Allen. But frankly, what are we going to do? Zach Allen doesn't get the flag. If the referees don't protect the quarterback, then that's what it is. The referees just don't protect the quarterback. So that's an NFL issue. Zach Allen, also, douchebag. But at the same time, throw a flag on him, he'll stop doing it. I mean, I got to tell you, if I'm Zach Allen, if I'm any defensive player and I'm getting away with something, I'm going to keep doing the thing I'm getting away with until they stop me. I would be a bad football player if I didn't. So as frustrated as I am with Zach Allen, as much as I don't like him because he's a dirty player, until the NFL starts penalizing Zach Allen, why would he stop? That's all I got on the refs for today. Couple more things to get to here on Chiefs Chase. See what we forgot, see what we got here. Couple more things to get to. Chris Jones had a fantastic game against Denver. That also makes it frustrating. This whole year, we've been like, where's Chris Jones? Where's Chris Jones? Where's Chris Jones? He lived in the backfield against Denver. He lived in the backfield. He was great. He was great against the run. He was great against the pass. From the very beginning of the game, Chris Jones made very good time during his bye week, came back very refreshed, very ready to go, and he was awesome. That's another frustrating part. Because Chris Jones, we've talked about him a lot. We're like, where is he at? He's playing. I said, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. And when you get paid that much, you can't be sometimes not so good. Right? You take up a lot of the salary cap to play good sometimes. Well, tonight he played good the whole time. So very nice game by Chris Jones. Everything's sullied because it's a loss. Like, Lutz gets the kick blocked. Chiefs pick it up, run it back for a touchdown. Well, then all this stuff is even better. But it didn't happen that way. So everything, even when it's positive, feels like, yeah, but. And for Chris Jones, it's a yeah, but game. He played very well. But when the game was on the line, they needed a stop. Defense couldn't get it. Quick question. Why does every quarterback that plays super mediocre to below average throughout the entire season suddenly play like they're a Hall of Fame quarterback against the Kansas City Chiefs? And it's not that the Chiefs are playing bad defense. Bo Nix is terribly inaccurate this whole year. Bo Nix has been terribly inaccurate the entire season. But he plays against the Kansas City Chiefs, and suddenly he's dropping dimes all over the field. What's going on? It doesn't matter if it's Bo Nix, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence. Guys who aren't playing that well this year apparently decide to put on the Superman cape every time they play against the Chiefs. So it feels like the Chiefs are playing against Hall of Fame level quarterbacks every single week. At least in the games that they lose. Justin Herbert? What's Justin Herbert looked like outside of his first game of the season against the Chiefs? Pedestrian. What does Trevor Lawrence look like other than a couple of games this year, including against the Chiefs? Below average. What's Bo Nix looked like this whole year until the Chiefs game? Not good until the fourth quarter when he can turn into John Elway. Plays the Chiefs? Accurate all over the field. Accurate in a way he hasn't been in the entire 2025. So what is it about playing the Chiefs that makes every quarterback in the NFL a Hall of Famer? That's your first big question to figure out, and then the Chiefs can stop the bleeding and start winning football games on a consistent basis. Because 5-5, guys, this team is better than 5-5. Part of this is a little bit of bad luck. A quarterback coming out and playing that kind of level of football, man, some of it's just bad luck. And it stinks. 5-5 has never felt so bad because this is at least a 7-win team, if not an 8-win team at this point of the year. They should be 7-3, 8-2, but they're 5-5. If I look shell-shocked or bewildered or what, that's because it doesn't make any sense to me, man. This is a much better team than how they're playing, and that's why it's hard to deal with. If this was a team that I thought wasn't any good and I was able to look on the field and go, oh, well, they don't have this, they don't have that. No, they have most of the pieces. Do they have holes? Yeah, but so does everybody else. The Chiefs' biggest issue is they can't finish close games. 5 wins by multiple scores. 5 losses, all by 1 score. That means this is a much better team than 5-5, but they just can't find a way to win the close ones. And until they can find a way to win the close ones, this is going to be a very rough season. We keep waiting for it to kind of turn around. And I think the Chiefs players and coaches are probably having a similar feeling that we are right now, that we're kind of waiting for it to turn around, waiting for that tide to turn and for the Chiefs to win these close games. But the problem is they just haven't gotten it done yet, and we're running out of time. That's the issue. And if they can win these close games, if they can turn it around, they can win out. They can go 12-5. I think they'll still be a wild card at 12-5, but that's okay. Think about Mahomes' legacy when he wins the Super Bowl as a 7 seed. It's going to be a beautiful thing for Kansas City to be the first ever 7 seed to win the Super Bowl, to go through Indianapolis and New England and probably Denver in order to get there. It's going to be a beautiful run for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's going to be so much fun to watch. But in order to make that happen, they have to find whatever it is that's stopping them from winning these close games. And they have to switch it and get to that mentality level where it doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter what's going on in the field. We got this. They've had that for, God, a minimum of 6 years. And then suddenly this year, it just stopped. And I don't know how to get it back. And I'm sure Andy Reid, if he knew how to get it back, he would. You know what I mean? There's no silver bullet fix. I think it's just a mentality shift from the entire team, and that's what it's going to take. I don't think the Chiefs don't have enough talent. Yeah, you could be more stacked, but nobody in the AFC stacked. Denver's got problems all over the place. They overcame them today. The Chiefs did it. They're banged up in the secondary. The Denver Broncos. They're banged up in the secondary. They don't have anyone outside of Cortland Sutton. Mims has been off and on all year. He's been injured for a lot of the year, too. J.K. Dobbins is on the IR. Those are all big issues that the Broncos have. They still found a way to win. So that's going to be the conversation. How can you not find a way to win? We can talk about all the holes the Chiefs have, but the Broncos have just as many. So why are the Chiefs struggling to win these close games when other teams aren't? That's the biggest question to answer. And if you can answer that question, then you can find out how the Chiefs go 12-5. But that's something the Chiefs are going to have to look in the mirror and figure out. Looking ahead to next week, the Indianapolis Colts come to Kansas City. Big problem with that one. The Colts have a bye. So they have 2 weeks to prepare for the Kansas City Chiefs. They just got a whole opportunity to watch them in Denver. And hard to be optimistic on a 2-game losing skid. This was a stretch where I said the Chiefs have to go 2-1. They are 0-2. We'll dive in on the midweek blitz on the way to beat the Indianapolis Colts. We'll dive in on how to handle that and how to handle everybody. But the early thoughts for that game, how can I feel optimistic? How can anybody? After a loss in Denver, another loss, this one coming off a bye week. Oh. Lot of pain. Lot of pain. But I'm right there with you guys. I mean, you're here with me. We have the pain together. And I'll tell you, the pain of being bad isn't as bad as the pain of being good and playing bad. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people. They're like, what are you talking about? There are plenty of Chiefs teams that I've seen throughout my life where I knew from the very beginning, yeah, they're going to need a lot of things to break their way because they're not very good. The 2025 Chiefs don't fall in that category. So it hurts a lot more when I watch a team that has the ability to be great and they just can't quite figure it out in the close games. I don't know if it's a lack of camaraderie, if it's a lack of game plan, if it's a lack of clutch gene that they just left it all last year. But they have to find a way to be able to go into these close games and come out victorious and believe in each other. Because that's why the Chiefs were able to come back in their entire playoff run in the 2019 season. They believed in each other. Does this team believe in each other? It doesn't appear that way a lot of the time. How do you fix that? I don't know. Go bowling. Do some kind of team exercises. Like, do something, because clearly the playing for each other bit doesn't appear to be happening in Kansas City. And that's Chiefs chase. Chiefs lose 22-19 in Denver. They are 5-5. The most devastating loss that I've ever felt, because they're better than this. Have a great night. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I know it's hard when they lose. But if you do listen when they lose, and you listen the whole way through when they lose, know that I appreciate you more than I could ever possibly put into words. Thank you for supporting me, being part of this show, and everything that we do here on Chiefs Chase, because it really does mean the absolute world. Have a great week. I'll see you on the midweek blitz, and the sun will come out tomorrow. Thanks again.